going on, Jerome's? Coming to you live from beautiful and scenic Gary, Indiana. And the Vikings are on bye this week, but they are going to have some major decisions coming up in terms of what's going to happen at the quarterback position when they play the Raiders in 2 weeks in Las Vegas. And, the whole thing about it is, Josh Dobbs, Passionate, Josh Dobbs mania, all that stuff, where he looked fantastic in the second half against the Falcons. He looked fantastic in the first half against the Saints, yes. But I do think that Kevin O'Connell basically took the air out of the football second half against the Saints. Saints almost came back because of Jameis. But Dobbs did not play well against the Broncos. Now, I do think that maybe that dirty shot from Kareem Jackson early did a number on him. Who knows? But against the Bears, it was straight up probably one of the worst offensive performances that I've ever seen for the Vikings and for a Vikings quarterback. And I saw Joe Webb in the wild card game against the alleged greasy grimy Green Bay Packers. And I remember the Josh Freeman game. All right, so it was really bad all the way around. And you could say, yeah, a couple of his interceptions were off of deflections, but he probably should have thrown 6 or 7 picks. It was just a no good, very bad day. And I know that some people floated theories like, well, Kevin O'Connell is trying to keep Josh Dobbs in the pocket so he doesn't make mistakes. Yeah, how'd that work out? Fantastic. Good times. Also, Dobbs' best asset is his running ability. So keeping him in the pocket and trying to have him play the Kirk Cousins or Nick Mullens game plan, it's stupid. It's like having a Corvette and having a tow a boat. It's completely beyond the pale and stupid. But will the Vikings roll it with Josh Dobbs again? Now, Dobbs has the benefit of being a starter this entire season, initially with the Cardinals and recently with the Vikings. But would they turn to Jaren Hall, the rookie 5th-round pick, who they trusted to be QB2 when Nick Mullens went on injured reserve with that back injury? He was one play away behind Kirk Cousins, and he was initially the starter against the Falcons, if you'll remember, before Josh Dobbs took over, and Dobbs mania came in. And with Jaren Hall, there is a lot to like, where Jaren Hall has a great arm, he's got mobility, he's a mature leader, he's been in the offense all rookie camp, off-season, training camp, preseason, regular season. You really can't really can't discount that. And Jaren Hall looked good on that second drive against the Falcons. So I think that does complicate the calculus, because the Vikings, even at 6-6, are still firmly in the playoff places. And with the remaining 5 games, they should beat the Raiders, should beat the Bengals, 2 out of 3 against the Lions, and a home game against the Packers. So the Vikings are set up to make a run at this thing, but the turnovers have just been murderous for the Vikings, and Josh Dobbs has been a main offender with that, where he has 5 interceptions, he has 3 lost fumbles through 4 games. Averaging 2 turnovers a game, as the coach is stressing, winning the turnover battle, not making mistakes. And I don't know, for whatever reason, Dobbs is so good at when he's about to get sacked, he's like, hey, I'm just going to throw this ball up and we'll see what happens. He's a smart dude. He's a genius. He's literally a rocket scientist. How could he ever think that that's a good idea? Ever. And we've seen it multiple times from him. But could they go either way? Yes. Could you make a good case for Josh Dobbs? Could he calm down, rekindle some of that magic? Kevin O'Connell uses his mobility? Yes. Absolutely. And Jaren Hall, again, you can make a good case because he's been there. He has a chance to potentially be the future at 25 years young. Or you have Nick Mullens. And Nick Mullens came back from IR. He was the QB2 for Josh Dobbs on Monday against the Bears. Jaren Hall was the emergency quarterback 3. That's noteworthy. All 3 are on the 53-man rooster. And Nick Mullens did beat out Jaren Hall to coming out of training camp. So even though you would understand why Kevin O'Connell would go this route, I don't see the upside. If you're going to go with a veteran, may as well go with Dobbs, because I think that he has more upside. And if you're going to go with someone who has the most upside, I would roll with Jaren Hall. But Kevin O'Connell has talked about he's going to pick the best guy who meshes the best with Justin Jefferson, which, you got the best wide receiver in the game. How about we get a quarterback who's going to get him the ball in stride, not leave him hanging out to dry with hospital balls? And would that answer be Jaren Hall? Maybe. Would that answer be Nick Mullens? Maybe. Would that answer be Josh Dobbs? I don't know. But I mean, we're still like a week away from getting some clarity on this, as Wednesday will be the first day of Vikings practice next week as they get ready for the Raiders. And whatever O'Connell decides, like he can't be half pregnant in this spot. Like he has to pick his guy and roll with him. Make sure that that guy is named the starter. There's no questions. He gets all of the first team reps in practice, the 3 days, and then he rolls into the Raiders with no question marks. Like O'Connell, he's a Belichick guy, but he can't pull a Belichick what he did with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. Just splitting first team reps. Oh, I don't know who's going to start. No, take the bye week, go over the film, think about it, pick your guy, and name him the starter the rest of the way. The next 5 games and the playoffs. Just go from there, man. We'll see. Like deep down, I know that Josh Dobbs is a lot of fun, but I think he's more of a liability than an asset at this point, even though he certainly was an asset at times. I do think that Nick Mullens is fine. Is he going to be a guy that you win games because of? No. But also Nick Mullens is a bit of a gunslinger. Like his career touchdown interception ratio is not good. If you want someone who's going to take care of the football, it's going to be Jaren Hall. And as weird as that sounds, him being a rookie, I mean, Jaren Hall took great care of the football at BYU. Maybe he left a couple of plays on the field because he didn't pull the trigger when he could have. But he's not going to make stupid mistakes in general, outside of what rookies tend to make. And I actually do think that Jaren Hall would be the best option at this point. Again, Dobbs was a ton of fun, but the turnovers you can't have anymore, especially if the Vikings are going to play these close-ass tight games. I mean, the turnovers were murderous. The turnovers were why the Vikings lost to the Bears. The turnovers were why the Vikings lost to the Broncos and almost lost to the Saints. So can't have that anymore. But O'Connell's got a decision, and it could go either way. So we'll see. Anyways, that's it. Your thoughts are thoughts. Who's going to start a quarterback for the Vikings? Skull, no production value.